Hello everybody, Demon Red Mist here. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Although, I have a feeling Anthony Joshua isn't. And if you haven't seen it, apologies for the spoiler. Now, I was awake very early yesterday. And I was going to go to bed at about 10:15 last night, and then my fire alarm started beeping, not going off, it was just beeping, and did so for about 40 minutes, meaning the batteries was low. So I ended up having to wake myself up and get out to the. And I had to go around to a couple of petrol stations to pick up some batteries. So anyway, by the time I'd got home from that and chilled again, went to bed, fell asleep, woke up at 2:30 in the morning. So I only had about 2.5, 3 hours sleep at the most. Woke up at 2:30 and I was like, I could go back to sleep, or fuck it, I could just get up and watch the Anthony Joshua fight. So I did that, and I've been awake since. So I've got a feeling I'm going to be having an early night tonight. Now, yesterday when I was on, I came on without much of a purpose. Today though, I have come on with a little bit of a purpose, in that I'm going to do a little bit of practice in the GR3EVO. That's what we're calling the Group 3 Evo, which the DGT League is going to be using in the next championship. So what I'm doing here is, because the setup's a default, there's nothing to learn regarding the setup, but there is something to learn about how to drive the car. Now admittedly I already know about it, but some people might not, so that's why I'm going to try and show what I'm on about today. Just try and make sure I get the settings right. Week, visible damage on, tyre wear ×8. Okay, it all looks about right. Tuning prohibited, yeah. Okay. Okay, so I just had to sort the settings out there. Now the tyre wear is on ×8, which is obviously a lot less than we had on the Red Bull Junior, but it is higher than we'd had on previous championships. But in actual fact, on this car, the tyre wear isn't too bad. By the way, big up to James Shaw, for Shaw Design, or Shaw GP. How else is he known? James Hulkenberg, the Hulk, for the livery. He didn't think a Brawn livery would work. I told him it would. It does look fucking good. Also, there's a nice touch on the side of the car as well, which hopefully people will see at some point. Oh, excuse me. Now, the tyres that are available in the championship are going to be super softs and softs. Because the mediums, they're not really going to get used, and because of the tyre wear, sorry, I was struggling to get my words out today. Which reminds me, I've not had my medication yet. Yeah, the tyre wear is not too bad in this car. So one of the things that I want to try and show today is perhaps the two different driving styles you could use with this car. And it kind of boils down to sort of the qualifying style of driving and the racing style of driving. So what I'm going to attempt to do here is to basically go out on track, do as many laps as I can, driving as if I'm doing qualifying, right? And we'll see what the lap times are. And then I'm going to basically get a new set of tyres and see how many laps or how long in time I can go and what the lap times are like there. So two different driving styles, which could have two very different effects of how the car handles. Oh, excuse me. Now what I'm going to do here is I am just going to pull up on the start grid, because I am going to simulate a start. Oh, excuse me, bit windy. Oh. Okay, so gonna try driving qualifying style laps. Now the track that I'm on is the track that's going to be the first track of the championship, so that's why I've picked this circuit. So if anyone is struggling for how to navigate this track, you may be able to see a bit about it in this video. What I will say though is, this first stint I'm doing on the tyres, do not take this as how to drive this track. The second run I do, that's the one where the braking points are going to be much more important. So what I'm looking to do, I didn't actually look at what time I started, so 1:53, 2 minutes, so about a minute and a half on the clock when I started. Ooh, that's not very good. Oh shit. And okay, I've gone off, but the idea of this first stint is to see how the tyres last when I'm pushing too hard. And you'll see that I am getting quite a lot of understeer. And quite a bit of oversteer, and it'd be very easy to think that the car doesn't handle very nicely. But it's just like a woman. It's nice if you treat it nice. So I mean, I know that lap times that I should be aiming for should be around about high 107s, 108s. So like I said at the start, I am going to try driving a stint on these tyres, basically pushing too hard as if I was trying to get the maximum out of it at every corner. Hopefully you'll see that it's a little bit messy and the tyre wear is pretty bad actually. To be fair, my driving is pretty bad as well, but that just helps me prove my point. Yeah, so 107.6, not a bad lap time. So looking at it, I've been driving for what, 5 minutes? I should be looking at trying to get at least 15 minutes out of these tyres, really. But I've already got quite a bit of wear on the rear left. The car's sliding in every corner. Front tyres are taking an absolute beating, which is only going to make the understeer worse. So although I was up in that middle sector, it's been a very messy lap. So on the clock, I'm looking at trying to get to about 17 minutes consistent lap times, but this is, I mean, this is by no means consistent driving. The car is not handling very nicely because I am pushing it too hard, too much, and braking too late. And I'm going down extra gears, which then means when I'm accelerating, it's lighting up the rear end. It's getting wider and wider in that corner. I'm having to lift more and more. We've had a 1.1 second time loss. And the car is a bit of a bitch to handle at the moment. So this is end of lap 5. What's that? 108. Okay, so I'm going to still try pushing. But let's see if I can improve on that 108.8. Half a second down already, and that's in one corner. So the tyres are hurting me here. Obviously tyres are going to lose time as they wear. So front left is about a third gone. Oh, it's not liking braking there. And we're 1.1 seconds down again. The car's all over the place. Rear left tyre is at 50%. Rear right has got a quarter gone. So I've got a massive imbalance on the rear end. And it was another 108.8. So that's that would suggest to me that that's tyre life relevant with the lap time. I've got no chance of making that corner in third gear now. It'll never turn in. Not at a decent speed anyway. So even though I'm trying to still push and brake at the similar points, the car just hasn't got the grip anymore. The tyres aren't there, which equates to understeer, oversteer, time loss. A feeling of, I'm going to have to pit to get rid of these tyres, they're shit. So even though okay, so it's another 108.8, okay, so it's consistent. But I'd expect that lap time to drop down again now, just because of the rate of wear that these tyres have on this car. Okay, can't make third gear for turn 1. I know I've been doing it second gear recently, but I thought I'd try, and it's not having it. Oh, I did make it in third gear, but I had to slow down so much. I mean, so much understeer, it's unreal. Followed by a ton of oversteer. Now, it would be easy to look at the times and go, well, he's done a couple of 107s, mid 107s, and then 3 108s. That's fairly consistent if you just take into account tyre wear. Losing another 3/10 on this lap, though. Lost a second all on its own in that middle sector. So now we're into the 109s. I said we may find a little bit of extra time loss. We're only at 12 minutes. I need to get to 17. All cars sliding. Tyres are pretty much done. The rear left just hasn't got the grip to keep me going. Brake as late as I was earlier on, but yeah, definitely can't brake that late anymore and make the corner in third gear. So I could do it in third, but I'm gonna have to brake so bloody early to do it. And now, because the front isn't gripping and the rear is sliding, I'm actively trying to kick the rear out a little bit to help with the steering. Wow, massive time loss. Yeah, these tyres are done. We lost a 1.2 in the first sector, 1.6 in the second sector, half a second in the final sector, and that was a 1:11. So yeah, these tyres, they are toast. And obviously now I can't push. I'm trying, but I can't. The car is just not capable of doing it. And now I'm into the realm of doing stupid stuff just to keep the car trying to face the right way, and that is the chance or the risk that you'd end up off the track. Well, I think it's fair to say those tyres are shagged. They've lasted, what, 11, 12 minutes? So 3 minutes short-ish of the time that I wanted. And looking at the lap times, although they may appear consistent-ish, they are all over the place. Don't get me wrong, I expect a tyre wear drop off in lap time, but not to that extent. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into the pits, I'm going to change my tyres, and then I'm going to do another run, and see if I can improve on what we just did there. Now, admittedly, I could potentially drive that aggressively for maybe one lap to get a decent qualifying lap time, but it ain't gonna help you in the race. Right, so I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna give myself a start. You'll notice I'm not handbraking it because I don't want to give the tyres any extra wear. And I'm going to try doing the same thing in, I want to achieve 15 minutes of driving on the tyre. Okay, so it's on 15, so I need, in the bottom left corner, so I need to get to about 30 minutes gone on the time. Let's see if we can improve on what we were doing then. Right. We'll let the car run a little bit wide there. Had to get out of the throttle. I'm going to kind of use this first lap as a little bit of a sighter lap to see what kind of lap time I get. And then I'll know if I need to try and pick the pace up a little bit. The previous fastest lap is a 107.5 and there's a 107.1 and I was driving slow. Okay. Okay, so we're on for another lap time improvement, a 106.7. That's quite a dramatic improvement. So that's nearly a second lap time gain. A little bit too much throttle mid-corner then, sent me a little wide. Okay, lost 2 tenths, but I'm not too fussed about that. I'm still faster than I was before. The 107.1, so the lap times on the right hand side, lap 12 and lap 14, pretty much same lap time. But if you look at, well, you can't see it now, lap 2, 3 and 4, there was a big lap time drop off. There's a few things that I'm trying to do while I'm driving here. One of them is very relevant to braking point, and in this car you can go on the red flashes at the bottom of the screen. When that starts flashing, brake. You'll make the corners then. Oh, ran a little bit deep. I did brake a touch late, so I'm not pushing the car in the braking zones. What does that do? Saves tyres, a 107 dead. So I've now got effectively 4 lap times very consistently, whereas previously I didn't get that until I was in the 108s, and that was only for 3 laps. Yeah, so I'm not attacking the braking zones here, and that's looking after the tyres, and it's giving me a better exit out of a corner. I'm not overdoing the steering going into a corner, and I'm also not aggressively accelerating around the corners. Again, that saves tyre life and gives me a better exit out of the corner. Corners like this, get it into second, and then I can floor it. So I'm maximising my speed on the acceleration points and on the straights, but in the corners I'm looking after the car. And you'll notice as well that I don't think I've had a lap yet where the car's at, fucking hell, I've done another 107 dead. Right, that's remarkable, to be fair. Yeah, I haven't done a lap yet where the car's been out of control at any moment. Let's see, how many laps have I done? This is the 5th lap, and if you compare the tyre wear to what I had on the 5th lap of the previous run, I have got a hell of a lot more tyre life left. Now, there is going to be a little bit of drop off, and there is going to be a slight loss of grip, but I can drive around that. Just by being a little more cautious in the corners and in the braking zones, because I'm already braking, I wouldn't say early, but I'm braking at a nice early point. I'm actually not using full brakes, so I can either brake at the same point and just brake a little bit more to help me slow down with the lack of grip, or I could lift and coast and then brake. But I'd just stick with braking at the same points. No problem as well either. 3rd gear, turn 1, not a problem. 3rd gear down here has not been a problem. Now you might think, okay, it looks like he's driving so slow. Yeah, it might look like it, but I'm driving fast. Lap times don't lie. So 2 laps in a row, I've lost 2/10 in that middle sector. That's fine, it's not a problem. It still puts me on about a 107.2. So I've had a tiny little bit, well, have I had a tiny bit of drop off? My first lap was a 107.1. I've just done a 107.1. So even though the tyres are wearing, because I've looked after them, I can do very, very consistent lap times. Now, okay, yeah, it may not be as easy to do this when you're in a battle, in a pack of cars, but just imagine if everyone not drove the same way, because that'd be boring, but if everybody had the similar mindset, and it wasn't necessarily, I'm not saying this is what is happens or does happen, but for example in a daily race everyone goes, oh, there's a corner, let's overtake every fucker. Yeah, that don't work. Now, looking at the tyre wear as well, I now haven't got a massive imbalance from the left side to the right side, because I've been looking after the tyres. I have just lost 6/10 in the middle sector, but I'm busy yapping. But still, I don't mind, because that's still, I mean, that's only, what, 2/10 slower than the fastest lap I did on the previous run? Now, I can feel that a little bit of grip has gone. That's not a problem. Braked a little late for that corner, so I just stayed on the brakes a little longer. So lost 3/10 in the middle sector that time, 2/10 in the final sector, but still a 107.4. That's a good lap time. Okay, front end losing a little bit of grip now. So now I'm going to have to start thinking about, okay, maybe I might have to start needing to use second gear for turn 1, and if need be, that corner I've just been through. As the turn in here, alright, because the right front tyre has still got plenty of grip. So it's struggling a little bit in the right-handers, but in the left-handers it's not too bad. So now I'm, what, just over 50% wear left on the rear left. Okay, I've had a lap time drop off. That's relevant to what I felt in the first corner. Okay, so I've now had a little bit of drop off a lap time. So I've just done my first 108. That's a big step in a loss of lap time. So let's go second gear for turn 1. Whee! Yeah, there was definitely a little lack of grip. To be fair, I didn't get into the apex. That was bad driving on my part. I mean, even so, the tyres are still in pretty good nick. The thing is as well, I mean, okay, well, I've just lost 9 seconds there. Well, if you take all the seconds that I have been faster on all the previous laps on this run compared to run 1, losing the 9 seconds wouldn't be that costly in lap time comparison, because I was a second a lap slower for pretty much every lap. Now, I said that I wanted to get to about 30 minutes gone. I'm at 29 minutes. My tyres feel okay. They have lost a little bit of grip, but they're alright. Now, because I use second gear on the way into turn 1 there, I can get more aggressive on the throttle on the way out. That's what I fucked up on the previous lap. So even though I've used second gear, I have only lost just under 3/10 in the first sector, which for tyre wear isn't actually that bad. This middle sector I would expect to lose a little bit more time because of the nature of the corners, and this one, as the right front tyre loses grip, I'm going to lose time in that left-hander. Yep, 9/10. But hey, guess what? That 9/10 loss still equates to a faster lap time than what I did on the majority of the first run. Now I am going to keep going here to see how long I can go. Another layer of grip has gone. Got to a certain steering angle then, and it's lost grip. Now, for any of the keen-eyed viewers, you may have spotted my braking points, my turning points at certain corners, and I will, on this lap, try and mention them. Turn 1, credit to SGP on this one. On the wall on the left hand side there's a strip of orange paint. It's where the fire marshals are. That's your braking point for turn 1 coming up now. Now I was looking at the wall, so I didn't do enough braking there. Down here, as soon as the red lights are flashing, on the brakes, move it over to the right, but off the throttle early to get this second apex. Little squirt of throttle, then on the brakes, not hard on the brakes. Wait till second gear to go flat out. At the end of the curb on the right, lift, turn in, and wait till towards the end of the curb on the left before going full throttle. Brake at the second brake marker board or as the red light flashes, and be patient here. Nice and smooth. Okay, I've had a little bit of a time loss on that lap. Now that could just be tyre wear related. Let's keep going. So braking at the orange marker. Yeah, grip is definitely going now. Not wanting to turn into this left-hander anymore, but can still get around it with not too bad a time loss. Say not too bad a time loss, 1.2 seconds. So yeah, now tyre wear really is coming into time loss. So even though the tyres have got more white showing, they have now got to a stage of having quite a dramatic time loss compared to what I was doing earlier in this run. But interestingly, a 108.8 still faster than what I was doing within 12 minutes on the first run. And still, I mean, even now, oh, understeer, looking at the level of tyre wear, yes, my rear left has worn more than my rear right, but it's not a dramatic and imbalance as it was in that first run. But now I am in a realm of having to be a little bit more careful, because the more aggressive I am on the throttle, the more chance there is of me spinning. To be honest, I probably would have pitted by now. Because if I'm doing sort of low 107s, getting into the 109s is potentially, that's borderline, okay, it ain't going to be long until the lap times get a lot slower than that. And I am struggling more and more to get the car turned in. So that there was the first real kick of oversteer that I've had to deal with. But I've done, what, 20 minutes on these tyres? So what I'm going to try and do now, because there isn't a lot of tyre life left, I've done a 109.3 and a 109.5, so now I'm going to try and improve on that lap time, but not by pushing more, but the grip's not there now. I'm going to be about 4 tenths down in this first sector, 8 tenths down. Wow. Yeah, the grip is not there anymore. So I'm definitely into the realm of needing a pit stop now. I ain't improving on the 109.5, that's for sure. I mean, looking at the rear left, that's... I don't think it's got one lap left in it, really. And we've just lost nearly another second there. And braked a little early this time. That's not bad, only a 4/10 loss. And what I'm trying to do in that right-hander there, where I've been losing the rear end on the last few laps, was to try and not put too much steering angle on as I'm slowly accelerating. So I managed to claw a little bit of time back in that middle sector, but I'll have lost it all in those last two corners there. Pretty much 109.8. So even though my lap times are slower, I mean, I have been able to sort of keep going. I've not gone off. Oh, that front left doesn't like that anymore. Didn't mean to double shift then. Not bad, 109.9. So I am still able to drive around the problems and still have a little bit of consistency. Lap times are just considerably slower now. It's going to be a 110. That's not too bad though, only a 2/10 time loss. But, I mean, okay, I've managed to make that rear left tyre last a couple more laps, but I am in the realm now of, like, if I had pitted against me, what, 10 minutes ago, I would have gained so much time. I mean, if you think, if I'm now at sort of high 109s, low 110s, that's what, 3 seconds a lap slower than what I was doing earlier. So although I've been able to still keep going round the track, if I'd have If I'd have pitted 10 laps ago, that's 30 seconds in the bag. That's a pit stop. So although I've managed to make these tyres last as long as I have there, from what, say, lap 25, maybe a little bit before that, they're pointless laps, but I carried on going to show that the tyres can be very, very consistent for quite a long time, but not if you punish them. If you punish them, they won't last, because the more you punish them, the more you wear, the more you wear, the more you slide, the more you try and push, the more you slide, the more you understeer. It's a vicious cycle that you'll end up getting in. And to be honest, the way that I have driven this particular track, it should be the same for most tracks that we'll race on in the DGT League, but some will differ more than others. So there will be tracks where the tyre wear is less, right? So you will be able to push that little bit more for the same amount of time. And there might be a couple of tracks where the tyre wear is worse, so you may have to either just pit a little bit earlier or back off a bit. And it may seem a little contradictory, like sort of saying back off a bit, but it's slower to go faster, is the way I view it. Anyway, I've achieved what I came on to achieve, and to be fair, that 106 that I did was a new personal best lap time, I think, for me around there. But yeah, I mean, 15 minutes was doable, and I'd probably say I would have pitted after about 15 minutes on that second stint then. The first stint, well, I'd have probably benefited from pitting after about 8 minutes, but that's half the time of the second stint, and the lap times were slower on the first stint. So it's kind of like how can I explain it? The harder you try or the harder you push, the slower you go. Whereas sometimes you'll be so much better off just going, you know what, I'm not going to attack every corner like it's the last corner I'm ever going to drive round. I'm going to drive round it in the fastest way possible, which happens to be smooth, calm and collected. I mean, there was, apart from the spin that I had because I fucked up, there was no real drama in that second stint at any stage, whereas that first stint was multiple dramas every lap, and that's not a nice way to race, because that can effectively, you race like that, you're exerting a lot of energy and it gets frustrating and it gets tiring, and if people are in the way, that makes it worse and it gets even more frustrating, and then you end up getting angry, and the more angry you get, the harder you push and the worse you make it. And you'd have been much better off just going, you know what, let's take a step back and calm and drive it like a champ. Right, I'm going to bugger off, I think. I came on and achieved what I intended to achieve, and I'm getting a little bit tired, and I'm getting quite hungry as well, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to go and grab a bite to eat, and then knowing me, I'll probably get a little bit sleepy. Couldn't have timed that better. Right, have a good Sunday everybody, and I'll see you all again soon. See you in a bit.